Hello guys, here I am and today I will be sharing my video with you guys that which tanks I bought on the Black Friday discount and for what reason I bought them. So let's get started. Now, first of all, I want to tell you guys that this is my first video while I am talking and I am not very good with English. So please try to adjust with me. Now, the first tank I bought was T34. This tank was easy for me to buy because my friends insisted on this tank and I watched a few reviews of this tank and this tank was cool. Now, the second choice was difficult for me. Either I could buy Rudy and STRV or I could buy IS2SH. These two tanks Rudy and STRV combined together cost me 5000 gold and this alone costed me 5000. So it was difficult for me. Then I asked about my brother what he could say in this and he told me to buy these two tanks and so I did. I bought these Rudy and STRV and I got from here 7, 13, and 21 tickets combined together. I got 41 tickets and only needed 37 for type 62, so I got more than enough and I got type 62 also. Now I will be sharing my videos of this type 62 T40 T34 Rudy and STRV with you guys, and I will be discussing like the things I like in this tanks and the things I don't like this in these tanks. So keep watching. So guys, here I am with my T34 and I just want to tell you guys that I am not very good with the English language and this is kind of my first video me while talking, so please try to adjust with me. Now let's talk about the reason why I bought this tank. I asked my friends that which tank should I buy, KV5, T34 or IS2SH. Many of them, actually most of them told me to buy T34 because it got great turret armor and the best penetrating gun available on tier 8 heavy tank. So here I am with my T34 and I just want to tell you guys that it's not a review, actually it's a mini review, and if you guys want me to make a full review on this tank, please comment in the comment section. Now let's talk about how I feel while driving this tank. So this tank got great turret armor, it got great gun, and it got great depression angle. So these all three things makes this tank a hull down monster. But there is a catch. Its frontal hull armor is not very well armed. Actually it is sloped but not very well sloped. Even the Tier 8 medium tanks can penetrate it easily, so you can't rely on your hull armor. And this tank is actually slow, really slow. If you guys drive USSR tanks, heavy tanks, IS3, IS5, IS6, then you guys will notice that this tank is actually slow. Well, according to its size, it's actually fine. Its speed is actually fine, but its acceleration is poor. That's all because of power to weight ratio. So the reason of making this video is that is this tank worth 5.3k gold? Well, if you want to buy a tank for hull down situation, then you surely should buy this tank because this tank is a hull down monster. And if you want to buy some premium tanks, then you should buy this tank because this tank is a unique tank and it earns a lot of credits. See it by yourself at the end of this battle. Goodbye till then.
Enemy armor is damaged.
So guys, here I am with my STVR 74A2. As you guys know that this is a premium medium tank, and the first thing that came to my mind was that why should I buy this tank? I mean, we got AMX 12T, it offers a better mobility than this tank and it got a pretty decent gun. Then why this tank? Well, I already told you guys that I wanted tickets to get Type 62 and I asked my brother about it and he told me to buy STVR and Rudy. So here I am. Now let's talk about what is good in this tank. Well, the first thing you will notice is its view range is actually great. It's 282 meters and that's really great. I mean, you got the best view range among tier 6 and tier 7 tanks. That's the best view range. So the second thing is its gun is pretty decent. Its penetration is good for its tire among its tire, and its alpha is just okay, 164 one shell average damage. Now talking about its armor, the front side of its hull armor is actually okay for entire 5 battles, but the sides and rear of its armor is actually very bad. That's very bad, and the turret armor is actually paper thin. It's really bad, the turret armor. And now talking about the mobility, the maximum speed of this tank is 35 km per hour. Now this is something you can live with, but the acceleration is really poor. I mean, if you don't have armor, at least you should have mobility, but it does not offer a good mobility for a medium tank. Its acceleration is poor. So but you got a autoloader gun. Well, that's the best thing about this tank. You got an autoloader gun and its damage per drum is actually 480, and damage per minute is actually 2000. So it's really good for our tier 6 tank. But one thing is for sure, that this tank is not for the frontline battle. You can't just jump in the battle and you wish to survive the battle. You are really dead if you go on the front line. So this tank so how to play with this tank? This tank got great gun dispersion actually. So accuracy is great, and its view range is also great. So it's like a sniper tank, but you got a autoloader gun, so you can't just always snipe. You have to empty your drum to get some damage. So for the first 2 minutes I suggest you should snipe. For first 2 minutes you just put an eye on minimap and you see where enemy HTs are going, medium tanks, tank destroyers and light tanks. So you will get an idea where the enemy team are, and then you can go for flanking, because you can't go for flanking in the first because this tank does not offer a good mobility. Yeah, medium tanks and light tanks will catch this tank easily. So first you have to keep an eye on the minimap and then you should flank. Well, that's all for today. Now, the main question is that is this tank worth 1750 gold? Well, hell yeah, it is worth it. If you want to buy a tier 6 premium tank, then this tank should be your choice. And if you are a fan of auto loading guns, then you should buy this tank. And this tank also earns a cool amount of credits, so you don't have to worry about credits. Well, that's all for this tank. So guys, here I am with Rudy. Well, I literally had crush on this tank and I asked my friends that which tank should I buy, Rudy or VK 45.03. Well, most of my friends, actually all of my friends told me to buy Rudy. Well, I asked them why should I buy Rudy. VK 45.03 offers a great armor, so why not VK? They gave me many reasons, like it got great mobility and great gun, and its armor is something you can live with. It will give a lot of bounces at sharp angles, but the main reason of buying this tank is that one of my friend told me that this tank is just like T6 Dracula. So here I am with my Rudy, and I don't regret this choice. This tank is really amazing, really amazing. I mean, just look at its gun. As you can see that this tank reloading is really amazing. I mean, really amazing. Only 4.5 seconds and 200 average damage for AP rounds. Well, that's really great. The maximum, I think the maximum damage for these rounds are is 250. So like this, it got more than 2600 dpm damage per minute, and that's actually great, which will help this tank to be on 1 versus 1 situation. So now talking about its mobility, it got pretty decent engine power, which is 600, but you can increase it to 630. Well, and it got the best track traverse speed among tier 7 medium tanks. I think, I don't know, but I think the best track traverse speed belongs to T6 Dracula. Well, I don't know exactly. Now let's talk about its armor. Its armor is also pretty decent, and got great angles like angle of elevation and angle of depression. So but dispersion is not very good, actually not very good, but it is good on this tank. Well, now we know the tank, so how to play with this tank? Surely this tank is not for front line. Its armor does not allow to go on front line, as you guys know that it is pretty decent, but it's not well armed. So it can and it can't be a long range sniper because of average penetration and dispersion. Well, then what is this tank for? The question is this: at the start of the battle, get to a key position, take a couple of shots and run. Well, that's good for this tank. And the tank is good on 1 versus 1 because of good DPM, damage per minute. So at the end, is this tank worth 3750 gold? Yeah, it is, because this tank is really unique. Got an average armor, great DPM and mobility, and earns a lot of credits. What else do you want from a premium tank?